Greetings, superior beings, greetings, supreme being. Welcome to Universal Peace Television. This is Universal Peace Television, the channel RBC Hoffman above double N on YouTube. And this is the broadcast. Arms control experts urge Trump to honor Iran nuclear deal, New York Times. You could argue fake news, mainstream media. Article review. So I switch off the live dashboard, it's working. And I can switch to the basic view. Oh yeah, first I'd like to say that Israel has nuclear weapons, so shouldn't they be sanctioned as well? They have the Dolphin nuclear submarines from Germany. And Israel has missile shields and other countries have missile shields, so Iran cannot pose any threat to them either with or without nuclear weapons. More about it in my previous broadcasts. So here we can follow the Iran nuclear deal on Google News. 5 hours ago, the New York Times article that we're going to read, and some other articles. Washington will be isolated if it quits nuclear deal. Iran, Tehran Times. 12 hours ago, renegotiating the Iran nuclear deal is pure fantasy. Washington Post, September 11, 2017. The debate on Press TV about the Iran nuclear deal. Iran's president to address UN amid debate over nuclear deal. ABC News 1 hour ago. And so this renegotiation is pure fantasy. Renegotiating, and that's a reaction probably to the art of renegotiating the Iran nuclear deal. Bloomberg 8th of September. And Iran's partners in nuclear deal have more to lose if it is breached, from the Tehran Times. So I switch to the New York Times article, mosquito in my room. My record is not ready. Okay, let's do this.
Arms control experts urge Trump to honor Iran nuclear deal, by Rick Gladstone Sept. 13, 2017. President Hassan Rouhani of Iran at Parliament in Tehran last month. President Trump says he believes Iran is violating the nuclear accord, an assertion that has been contradicted by the United Nations nuclear monitor. Credit Vahid Zalami, Associated Press.
So what it is, the I.A.E.A. claims they need a list of suspect sites before they can do anything. So there might be miscommunication about that or something. And they're all just doing what they usually do or are supposed to do to a certain extent.
Alarmed that President Trump may soon take steps that could unravel the international nuclear agreement with Iran, more than 80 disarmament experts urged him on Wednesday to reconsider and said the accord was working. In a joint statement, the experts said the 2015 agreement, negotiated by the Obama administration and the governments of Britain, China, France, Germany and Russia, was a net plus for international nuclear non-proliferation efforts. Because of the monitoring powers contained in the agreement, they said, Iran's capability to produce nuclear weapons had been sharply reduced. They also said the agreement made it very likely that any possible future effort by Iran to pursue nuclear weapons, even a clandestine program, would be detected promptly. Mr. Trump has repeatedly assailed the agreement, a signature achievement of his predecessor, describing it as a terrible deal and a giveaway to Iran. He also has said that he believes Iran is violating the accord, an assertion that has been contradicted by the International Atomic Energy Agency, the United Nations nuclear monitor that polices Iran's compliance. Continue reading the main story-related coverage. Trump may make Congress decide future of Iran nuclear deal September 5, 2017. Contradicting Trump, UN. Monitor says Iran complies with nuclear deal August 31, 2017. Qatar restores full relations with Iran, deepening Gulf feud August 24, 2017. Iranian parliament, facing U.S. sanctions, votes to raise military spending August 13, 2017. The accord, known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, severely limited Iran's nuclear activities in return for ending or easing many sanctions that were hurting the Iranian economy. Under an American law, Mr. Trump must recertify every 90 days that Iran is complying with the nuclear accord, or the American sanctions that were lifted could be reinstated. The next 90-day deadline is in mid-October. When he reluctantly signed the last recertification in July, Mr. Trump said, "If it was up to me, I would have had them non-compliant 180 days ago." The possibility that Mr. Trump may find a reason to declare Iran non-compliant, regardless of the merits, alarmed the non-proliferation experts. Politics by Nilo Tabrizi. 3 o'clock. Is the U.S. trying to kill the Iran nuclear deal? Video. Is the U.S. trying to kill the Iran nuclear deal? In July, President Trump reluctantly agreed to confirm that Iran is complying with the terms of the nuclear agreement. But now, analysts say he is actively looking for ways to get the United States out of the deal. By Nilo Tabrizi on published date July 31, 2017. Photo by Vahid Salemi, Associated Press. Watch in Times video. Embed, share tweet. They warned in their statement that unilateral action by the United States, especially on the basis of unsupported contentions of Iranian cheating, would isolate the United States. Last week, Mr. Trump's ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, suggested in a Washington speech that the president would be justified in decertifying Iran even if it was technically honoring the accord. Iranian officials have said that any resumption of the nuclear-related sanctions by the United States would violate the accord. Whether that would lead to its unraveling is unclear, but President Hassan Rouhani of Iran has suggested the country could quickly restore the nuclear fuel enrichment capabilities that had been limited by the agreement. The signers of the statement urging Mr. Trump to respect the agreement are experts in nuclear non-proliferation diplomacy from around the world. They included Nobuya Saib, Commissioner of the Japan Atomic Energy Commission, Hans Blix, former Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Thomas E. Shea, a former safeguards official at the International Atomic Energy Agency, and Thomas M. Countryman, a former Assistant Secretary of State for International Security and Non-Proliferation. The statement was organized by the Arms Control Association, a disarmament advocacy group based in Washington. The Trump administration's concerns with Iran have come as the United Nations Security Council, prodded by the United States, has ratcheted up pressure on North Korea to stop its nuclear and missile testing and resume disarmament talks. Kelsey Davenport, the Director for Non-Proliferation Policy at the Arms Control Association, expressed worry that if the administration abandoned the Iran agreement, any possibility of inducing North Korea to negotiate would be lost. Given that we are already struggling to contain the North Korean nuclear and missile crisis, it would be extremely unwise for the president to initiate steps that could unravel the highly successful 2015 Iran nuclear deal, which would create a second major non-proliferation crisis, she said. Correction, September 13, 2017. An earlier version of this article referred incorrectly at one point to the Director for Non-Proliferation Policy at the Arms Control Association. The director, Kelsey Davenport, is a woman. Continue reading the main story-related coverage. Trump may make Congress decide future of Iran nuclear deal. September 5, 2017. Contradicting Trump, UN. Monitor says Iran complies with nuclear deal. August 31, 2017. Qatar restores full relations with Iran, deepening Gulf feud. August 24, 2017. Iranian parliament, facing U.S. sanctions, votes to raise military spending. August 13, 2017.
Well, an idea is not to overreact and just do what is whatever is best for universal peace, choosing an option that rules out a world war over Iran completely to avoid the 7-year nuclear winter and mutually assured destruction. So there's a video with it that we can view. Let's check that out, a New York Times video. I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
In July, President Donald Trump reluctantly agreed to confirm that Iran is complying with the terms of the nuclear agreement. But now analysts say he is actively looking for ways to get the U.S. out of the deal.
The administration has a multi-pronged strategy aimed at pushing Iran to be the first to violate the agreement and therefore get the international blame for it.
Here's how experts say the Trump administration is trying to pull that off. According to several U.S. officials, the administration is trying to force Iran to let the I.A.E.A. inspectors onto military sites that are off limits under the deal, but where U.S. intelligence believes Iran might be cheating. Iran would likely resist such inspections, and that would play into Trump's strategy to paint Iran as non-compliant.
I know we're asking to get into various facilities in Iran. If they don't let us in, boom. But what you want is, you want the breakup of this deal to be about Iran. You don't want it to be about the United States, because we want our allies with us.
The Iran deal, which may be the single worst deal I've ever seen drawn by anybody.
In an interview with the Wall Street Journal, President Trump said, "If it was up to me, I would have had them non-compliant 180 days ago." This clearly sets the stage for the U.S. saying Iran isn't in compliance the next time they're asked to recertify in September. In this one brief statement following the G20 meeting, Sarah Huckabee Sanders may have openly admitted that the United States is for the first time not complying with its agreement with Iran and other Western nations.
In his discussions with more than a dozen foreign leaders, he underscored the need for nations to join together to strip terrorists of their funding, territory, and ideological support, and to stop doing business with nations that sponsor terrorism, especially Iran.
The nuclear deal states the U.S. can't pursue a policy that adversely affects the normalization of trade and economic relations with Iran. By openly saying that it may not be abiding by the terms of the nuclear deal, the U.S. could be signaling that they're ready to pull the plug on it. One day after certifying that Iran was complying with the terms of the nuclear deal, the Trump administration announced new Iran-related sanctions on its individuals and companies that the U.S. believes contribute to Iran's exporting of terrorism. These new sanctions create uncertainty in the market and dissuade companies from doing business with Iran. This in turn means that Iran isn't fully reaping the economic benefits of the nuclear deal.
I think it has never been in as much of a danger as it is at the moment, given the fact that it is one issue over which there is almost consensus in Washington that Iran is a bad actor and this agreement is a bad deal.
Well, another thing I thought with my limited neural capacity is they've already spent 150 billion or something on this. Wouldn't it be unwise to get rid of the Iran nuclear deal? And how are they going to get these facilities inspected then if they have no nuclear deal? It might just be giving the I.A.E.A. a list of suspect sites, and then they can inspect those facilities. Or these military sites. So the question is also, what would happen if they'd end the nuclear deal? I have to prepare my desk for dinner, so this was the video. I'm going to do other articles some other time. there are others that might find Iran not in compliance or whatever. Or is the I.A.E.A. not in compliance? It's if they are not willing to inspect these facilities. And of course, they cannot know if there are nukes if they cannot inspect them. Perhaps they do know with through the wall radar what they have exactly, but there's talk about that they first have to have reasonable suspicion and stuff. I've covered it in my previous broadcast also what the I.A.E.A. has written on their website about the fact that they have to allow these inspections according to the protocol, to the agreement. So that's in my previous broadcast, you may want to check them out as well. I've covered several articles about this subject. So the depleted uranium war crime and tactical nukes used in Syria not covered by the mainstream media may be other things that create terrorist actions. And basically, if you're dropping war, if you're dropping bombs, if you're dropping bombs, then that's war. It's not some kinetic action. If you're dropping bombs that also kill innocent civilians. So I'm against war, for universal peace, and I advise people to also mention universal peace if they talk about war. So they remotely control these insects, hybrid insects, and the idea is trust no one, nothing is what it seems. The depleted uranium war crime is very horrible, and I turn this on for universal peace. So the use of depleted uranium is a war crime. It's very horrible, unforgivable, you can argue. And probably it creates more terrorists and that it prevents more terrorism. So if somebody would drop depleted uranium in the US, of course now you have the danger of the ISIS attacks with chemical weapons and nuclear biological weapons. And they are also going to attack Washington, they said. But I'm getting very few feedback. I am getting some comments and likes, etc. But they're selectively blocking my videos, so that is to depopulate Earth to 500 million to rule the world from Jerusalem, and the main people doing this are Jesuits and Masons. And the 6 Jewish people that want to depopulate the Earth that I've covered in my previous broadcasts. To 500 million, so that means getting rid of 7 billion people. And that's clear from their book quotes. And illegal Georgia Guidestones, $1 million Georgia Guidestones with human blood on top. So they're bloody serious about depopulating the Earth. And they pretend to believe that we're overpopulated. I've already explained why that's not the case. Because everybody would fit into Australia, have their own piece of land, more than enough to eat if they divide the Earth's wealth equally among men. And then the rest of the world would be uninhabited in reality. There's also a YouTube video about it, so they're lying in reality, they're just making stuff up to depopulate the Earth. Also, the list of pandemics caused by vaccinations proves beyond any reasonable doubt that you should never take their illegal killer vaccines. And immunize yourself with colloidal silver and use probioticum to replace the good bacteria in your gut you need to digest food. And more, read up on it on internet first. And a cheap colloidal silver generator for $16 is available on eBay, and then you only need to buy the water, which is Aqua Purificata. Purificata is the cleanest water you can get. You should get the cleanest water, basically. And it has to be suitable for medical applications. You can also buy colloidal silver cheaper at the drugstore, usually, at least in the Netherlands we can. So it depends on the concentration, how much of that you can use internally. I like his acting. So some of these images are kind of anti-Semitic. I'm slowly changing that, but I have to clean up my desk and I have other things to do. And I've covered it already. They've removed Daily Stormer and Stormfront.org and another Zion Crime Factory. Zion Crime Factory was also removed from the internet. Another idea I have now is if you hate haters, then you're a hater yourself. I would not go into a hot air balloon, I think it's too unsafe. So Tintin dressed as a Nazi is more satire, I think. He doesn't have blonde hair and blue eyes. New iTunes version. You see, they let it hang when I close my eyes, etc. It's done with a neural network systematically to make people look bad, so they have a smear campaign against me and others. And they can also remove subscribers, so you may have to resubscribe. And I've covered possibly illegal censorship of YouTube in my previous broadcasts. The censorship YouTube is doing. So people are moving to other things for that, but I don't monetize my videos. And perhaps I should, because I'm not making any racist statements. I'm not claiming that we should get rid of all the Jews and it's the Jews and it's the smoothies, etc. So if you think I should, then please leave a comment and I will look at it. I'm also looking for anybody who has these statistics I saw in a video that proved that Jewish people have all the best jobs, the best paying jobs, and so not about 90% Jewish ownership of the mainstream media and Harvard students, etc. That's what I usually run into when searching for that. Perhaps it's under a different title on YouTube or on the internet. So perhaps somebody can do a video about that. Because I think it's important when there are 6 Jews that want to depopulate the earth and non-Jews like the Turner of CNN helping them. That it's a very dangerous situation, and you could argue it's illegal racial discrimination if 90% of the people are Jewish race, what Netanyahu has called the Jewish race. And of course it's people from Judah, and they have to have a Jewish mother, so it's more of a racial thing than a religious thing, which they might claim. Or not, you all have to make up your own mind. I mean, I'm not going to tell people what to do, etc. Except that it would be wise to get a radiological water filter and some storable food, peanut butter, rice and peas, just in case they are going to end this nuclear deal and bomb the Iranian facilities where they didn't allow the inspections, to create the Jesuits' Third World War to depopulate the earth to 500 million. And they have these seed banks in Norway for that, etc. I cover it more broadly in my previous broadcasts. For now, I have to prepare for dinner. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe, and any good ideas are welcome. People can always Skype me, prologic999 on Skype. Okay. So I temporarily halt this broadcast for universal peace.